This episode of the Off-Road Podcast is sponsored by Colby Valve.
Off-Road Podcast, episode 447, New Jersey Trail Closures.
Tonight, Aaron sleeps on the ground, Coy gets rocked, and Ben coughs a lot.
Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products. Wow, I got that all wrong. Review products and interview people in the off-road industry. Your hosts tonight are Aaron, Coy. My name is Ben. Tonight we are joined by Dave Dempsey, an off-road enthusiast from New Jersey. And welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, glad you made it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks,
Coy. How'd you get rocked this weekend?
I went to the beach and went beachcombing at Tunnel Beach here on the Oregon coast and looked for agates and so forth.
Where's Tunnel Beach at? I don't recognize that name.
It's kind of by Neatarts.
Okay.
So it's like Oceanside, Neatarts area by Tillamook.
Okay. There's an agate beach on the coast down there somewhere too. I don't know.
That's by Lincoln City.
That's Lincoln City area. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fun. Did you go to the cheese museum while you're there? Or?
I did not. I literally just walked the beach, looked for combs. I found a piece of coral, which I've never found on the Oregon coast before. That was pretty cool. So
that's cool.
Probably a little
piece
agates. Yeah, I found a bunch of agates. My wife found more, but I found some.
Nice.
I found some really rock ones. Apparently, there was kind of like a big king tide recently that washed a bunch of fresh rocks up there. And up by where we parked the cars, you could tell over the railing, somebody just dumped out the stuff they didn't want, which was way better than the stuff I had. So like it really good. Like they look like they're tumbled already. The friends we were there with, they're like, they come walking up. Look at these ones we found. I'm like, wow, that's the best ones we've had this whole time. Like they're beautiful. And then she comes back with some more. I'm like, excuse me, where exactly are you getting those? And then somebody just dumped a couple like leftover buckets over the railing.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was a good time. Go to the coast with the kids. I was around. Didn't do any off-roading other than on my feet.
Do you have a rock tumbler to tumble those rocks?
No.
Okay.
No.
You just pop one of your hubcaps off, fill it with sand, put the rocks in there, and just drive around.
We need to do that to Ben. These camping trips. Just one little piece of obsidian. Just listen to bing, ding, 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 click.
Yeah, that'd be good.
What about you, Aaron? I resisted calling or texting and asking how much you hated your life this weekend, how miserable you were. If you're able to make it, so tell us. I need to, tell us what you did.
Real quick in the comments, John Lowe says, "Are you guys covering New Jersey trail closers?" Yes, we're going to get to that in probably about 20 minutes when we hit the main topic. Max says, "Good evening. Badlands is out there. Eric is checking to make sure Ben has a pulse." Before the show, I mentioned if we see Ben pass out and fall to the ground, we're just going to cut his video feed. We'll call 911, but the show will continue on. The show must go on. So
just text my wife. Come yell at me.
It was rough. So
nope. Sorry, my cat's on my computer.
Yeah. Your cat wants to be part of the podcast.
Yes, he does.
So I went up in the woods with some friends up near a reservoir near my house, about 25 minutes away, and we did like a survival thing. So basically, you bring your bug out bag and you head up in the woods and you camp out of your bug out bag and see how your gear works. I had bought a new emergency bivy sack, and I had a backpacking tent and some MREs and stuff. And I was staying warm in my tent. When we got there at 10 o'clock in the morning, it was 34 degrees and it only got colder.
What did you use as a tent?
Just a backpacking tent, like a thin nylon style tent. So it was a legitimate tent. And then I had one of those really thin foam pads, not like an air mattress pad, but like it Z folds and it's silver on one side and yellow on the other. So I had like a mattress pad. It felt like I was sleeping on rocks. It didn't matter. That foam pad didn't do anything to mitigate the floor of the forest. And like I wasn't sleeping on rocks either. Like there's pine needles and plants and stuff underneath me, but it was still hard. The biggest issue was that emergency bivy sleeping sack was shaped like a mummy bag, and I didn't know that until I unrolled it for the first time. And I don't sleep well in mummy bags because I roll a lot in my sleep.
You just take your knife and slice each side of it a foot or two.
I should have flipped it over and cut a hole for my head and a hole for my arms and just worn it like a big dress. It was rough. So in the middle of the night, at 2:00 in the morning, I got up to take a leak, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to get my sleeping bag. So I brought my sleeping bag with me. So I put that in the tent, and I stoked the fire, got the fire going again, put another log on the fire. And it's a good thing I did, because right after I went to bed, I heard somebody get out of their hammock, and he ended up sleeping next to the fire in his sleeping bag on the dirt because he was so cold in his hammock. Yeah, Josh, I was at Barney Reservoir. That's exactly where I was. So he says one of the. I don't know. It rained all night long, so it didn't get below freezing. So, but it was just above freezing.
Wait, so somebody was so cold that they laid in the rain next to a fire in their sleeping bag?
No, we had put up a tarp next to the fire. So it was like our eating and hanging around talking shelter was under that tarp.
Was the sleeping bag, was that breaking? I know you're trying to make it look like a backpack and stuff. Was a sleeping bag included in that, or why didn't you start?
So his sleeping bag was like a down mill surplus type bag that he can fit in his bug out bag. So
your sleeping bag that you got up.
No, I broke it. No, my sleeping bag definitely is not part of my kit.
Oh,
so yeah.
If you just decided to make it part of your kit like 15 minutes before you got it, then you didn't break it. I just changed it at 1:59 in the morning.
Yeah, there you go. No, I couldn't hack it with that gear, so I need to find something that will work. It just isn't going to work. I do got to say also, all the wood that we collected to start the fire, we collected from up there. We found some dry poplar, which was cool. So we were able to split it with the tools that we had and get fire started. And then I had brought some dry Doug fir from home, but I wanted to make sure that we got the fire going with stuff there.
Cold and the fire smelled like dog poo.
It didn't stink. It wasn't. No, it wasn't stinky wood. Huh. But anyways, yeah, it was a rough first half of the night. So the scenario I ran was all of the stuff that I used, except for the sleeping bag, was stuff that's in my car every day. So if something happened and I was with my car, everything I had was with me. So I was wearing my work clothes on purpose, my work boots. I have my muck boots in the car with me, and my bug out bags in the car. I've got some snacks in the car. I've got an extra blanket in the car. I've got my heated vest with me in my car every single day while I'm at work. So I wore that as part of my gear. And what's cool is that Milwaukee heated vest with the Amazon battery that I use in it. I ran it for 5 hours on medium. I turned it on when I went to bed at 9:30. At 2:00 in the morning, I turned it up to high and it ran for 5 more hours on high. So it was on for 10 hours and it still was working. So that's a good battery.
Technically, do you have your Milwaukee drill with you?
Mm-hmm.
So you should get one of those wood splitting bits that actually work and add that to your bag. So
there you go.
Then you're just adding to the things you can do.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, if I have my Sawzall or my angle grinder in the car.
Exactly.
I'd say you get the Milwaukee heat gun and then just zip tie the trigger down and have it in your tent and then just lay
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, those heat guns only last for like 15 minutes. I've heard they don't work that well.
They last long enough to cook a hot dog. I know that much.
Yeah. Ben, what have you been up to?
Well, not a whole lot. Last week, like before the show, I took a nap before the show, and then I got off the show and I went to bed. And then I came home from work and I went to bed the next day. And I did that for like the next 3 days. And I was like, I'm sick and I'm not feeling better. Finally, instead of like calling out sick, Friday, I went to the doctor's, Saturday I went to the doctor's and got diagnosed with pneumonia. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Because I was sitting there, I'm like, I used my pulse ox and watched my O2 levels go. I didn't have COVID. I did a test for that. I'm like, oh, maybe I just got the flu or something, but I wasn't getting a fever. And so, yeah, I got pneumonia. Really fun. I had one lung down right now. My dad did stop by last weekend, and I totally forgot about it, and dropped off some old repair manuals and stuff from his garage and some stuff from his garage.
Is that an Oldsmobile Cutlass?
I believe so. Nope, it's a Pontiac GTR. So this is the Chilton's auto repair manual from 88.
Wait, hang on. A what?
Yeah. It's a repair manual.
Anyway, Pontiac. You said Pontiac GTR though.
Yeah. That's what it said. Yeah, Pontiac. I can't. Yeah, it's GTR. I see GTR. Grand. I can't read it very well.
Take a picture and send it to us after the show or something, because
yeah,
I gotta know.
And then VW. My dad's a big Volkswagen guy, so bunch of Volkswagen repair manuals. I've got a big stack of them. His garage flooded, and some of the books got damaged. And he's like, I need a place to stick these where I know they won't get ruined and they'll be valued. And I was like, well, okay, I've got a bookshelf they can definitely sit on. I don't know how valuably used they'll be with me in YouTube nowadays, but
yeah,
they're there. And I was actually flipping through some of them, and like torque specs and stuff is nice, especially when I get into Grandpa's Jeep. There's an old Jeep one in there too. So there's some useful information in these books that I'm sure could be found just as easily on the internet, but that's not always available. So yeah. And then other than that, I've got some weird battery drain in the 4Runner. Not exactly sure what it is. Maybe it was my batteries, like a light was left on. The battery just hasn't charged up, but like we were trying to come home and I had to get jumped twice.
Wow.
Like we went to a store and then I thought the battery charged up enough and I shut it off. Then we went to another store and I had to get jumped. And then when we went to another store and I kept it running and I came home and I shut it off and it like wouldn't start back up again.
And to be honest, like if you said you got jumped twice in Moses Lake, I would think something totally different.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've got to figure out what's up with the battery. Either it's the battery's going bad, which it shouldn't be. It's only a year old, or it's my alternator. But the thing is the Toyotas suck with their charging system. It's not high amperage at all, or like the AGMs, you have to get a special $80 thing to make it charge properly. So I don't know. Coy, thoughts on that?
I've had an AGM battery in mine for it's got to be 8 years, and I haven't added anything, and I've had zero issues. I know
maybe it's just the 4Runners. Yeah. I don't know. But it is what it is. I'll get it figured out. not enough energy. I barely had enough energy to walk out to the garage tonight, but I did. So yeah.
Dave, have you done anything off-road related in the past couple weeks? Maybe you can fill in for our shoes since we haven't, clearly.
Probably in the neighborhood about 150 miles worth of dirt roads over the past week. But been out there
Over to
cleaning
over
up
to where?
trash and cruising. No, over like the past week or so. Like
over
literally,
the past week. Okay.
yeah, bordering the side of my property is a dirt road going into the forest, and
Okay.
it's actually sometimes use different dirt roads out there for shortcuts depending where I'm getting, but I'm out there pretty much every day of the week. So
Very nice.
yeah. Yeah. And yeah, pretty much always cruising.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're trying to take a lot of that away, but we'll be getting into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise not so much. My big Jeeps and everything, the ones that I trailer places, they're staying put until it gets warmer. So once springtime comes, I got 2 Jeeps on 44s, an 84 CJ7 and a 47 CJ2A, and they're my toys that don't go back behind my house, but we do have some private property. So
Nice.
yeah.
Sounds like you need to get those things in some snow and do some snow wheeling.
Yeah, I'm a fair weather wheeler mainly. I mainly hate doing the maintenance in the cold. Unfortunately, I'm still doing stuff in the driveway, so neither of them Jeeps fit in my garage. My little Cherokee that I run around on the roads back here, that fits in there, but yeah, laying in the driveway doing a ring and pinion or
Well, snow wheeling. You have 2 Jeeps, just get a couple months out of one, then break it, park it in the driveway, run the other one, break it, and then it's almost warm again. You gotta sort it out.
Time to work on it.
That is a solid point. And trying to work on my race car as well. I got way too many projects here at home.
Well, race cars, there's such a narrow window where you can only work on those the night before you race. So it's only a couple days a year, really, that you could work on them. So you just got to really get that narrowed in.
That is true. But yeah, I'm out there literally, luckily Tread Lightly just sent me new grabbers and bags and everything. And I go out there back behind my house and I just clean up. Unfortunately, a lot of people like to throw trash out there, and
yeah,
I try to get a bag every other day or so out of there. So,
we picked up trash at the campsite we were at this weekend too.
yeah.
I just don't understand it.
No, I definitely don't. It's,
yeah.
New Jersey is people will always think of New Jersey as the TV show, the Jersey Shore and whatnot, and a bunch of city and everything. And it's really the southern half of the state is all woods and farms. And the little bit that we do have over here, being a small state, it's like to trash it. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of woods there just because I listen to some paranormal podcasts. So the Jersey Devil really lives out there in the woods.
Oh yeah, the Jersey Devil's definitely. Yeah. Jersey Devil definitely gets searched for a lot. So I've before the days of the internet and cell phones and whatnot, I can recall getting stuck at like 2 a.m. and having to walk back to my house 6-7 miles through the woods. And you definitely hear a lot of stuff out there, but I'm still alive. So, somebody said the great way to make your money disappear. Yes, I live off of ramen noodles and I dress straight out of thrift stores so that way I can afford everything else.
Yeah.
Yes, Snooki's not from Jersey. Snooki's New York, so that don't count as New Jersey.
Okay. We also want to thank our sponsor, Patriot Patch. Head over to patriotpatch.co and check out their selection of great patches, shirts, cleaning mats, signs, and stickers. You can also join the Patch of the Month Club for $15 and receive a patch, matching sticker, and artist proof each month. Here's this month's Patch of the Month. The You Fill My Heart to Capacity. We've got some AK and AR mags. That's right. We got these in the mill already because Coy was mentioning that his disappeared immediately.
He also said something along the lines of, what did he say? Oh, I can't remember. I think I saved it. I'll have to look it up. No, that was last month's.
Okay.
Something about ARs being for girls.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know what you're talking about. People would be pissed if I said something like that. It's un-American.
Have tire troubles ever left you deflated? Colby Valve has got you covered. Ever have a valve stem leak? Colby Valve makes reusable and easily replaceable valve stems that don't require you to remove your tire from the wheel. They work with your off-road rig, ATV, side-by-side, commuter vehicle, or even your tractor. Never be left stranded again because of a busted valve stem. They also have a tire repair kit for those punctures that keep you away from doing your favorite thing, wheeling. Make sure to check out colbyvalve.com or ask for them at your local off-road products store.
Real quick here in the comments, Eric said one of his patches fell off his headliner onto the back of his neck. He was sure it was a snake. And honestly, living in Texas, Eric, I would be sure it was a snake too.
Yeah.
Eric, what you need to do is be like me, where you reach the level of depression where you're just like, I hope it's a snake. Please bite me. Like, just you're either on your way to work or coming back, and you're ready. Take me now, Jesus. I go to heaven if I don't kill myself and I die of natural causes. But did we jump into the news on that note?
On that note.
The Drive is where this article comes from. Ford replaces a wrecked Raptor with a Raptor R. United States Marine Corps Sergeant Tyler Vargas Andrews was in Afghanistan assisting with the evacuation at the Kabul airport after the Taliban takeover in 2021 when suicide bombers attacked, killing 183 people. Vargas Andrews suffered horrific injuries and woke up a week later at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Maryland, recovering from the wounds resulting from 100 to 150 ball bearings. Two of his close friends had died in the blast, and he remained hospitalized for quite some time after two amputations, his right arm below the elbow and his entire left leg. As a gift for himself for surviving, Vargas Andrews bought a 2023 Ford F-150 Raptor equipped with a turbocharged 3.5 liter V6 and 450 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque. Now retired, the former soldier told the Detroit Free Press that he took several cross-country trips in the Raptor from Virginia to California, Utah, Colorado, and Wyoming for off-roading, putting the truck through its paces. Vargas Andrews says that he was stopped in traffic on the interstate in Virginia on Thanksgiving Day last year when he saw a speeding black SUV in his rearview mirror getting closer and closer. There was no way for him to move to evade the imminent crash, and the Murano barreled into the truck from behind, sending the Raptor careening across multiple lanes. See if I can scroll down here without screwing this up. Apparently I can't. What am I doing? It helps if you click the right side of the mouse. Careening across multiple lanes of traffic and spinning it around. He was hit by a driver in a 2017 Nissan Murano. Aaron, apologize for your people.
Apologize, Aaron.
This is big ultimate injury or energy.
It is this. I think Muranos and Altima share the same spirit.
They have the same soul.
Yeah.
Anywho, while the structure of the Ford truck kept former Marine and his partner Victoria safe, his red Raptor was completely totaled. State troopers later told Andrews that the SUV driver was charged with reckless, negligent driving, but that still didn't bring his truck back to life. He posted about the incident on his Instagram account at Whistling Death, tagged Ford and Ford Performance, and dozens of commenters chimed in to tag the company. It got the attention of Ford North America Product Communications Director Mike Levine. I think that's how we say it. And he helped pass the story up the chain to Executive Chair Bill Ford. The great grandson of Henry Ford got involved, inviting Andrews to choose the Raptor of his dreams and come to Dearborn, Michigan to visit. By the time Andrews left Michigan, the 26-year-old had picked out a brand new 2024 Raptor R, which boosts a supercharged V8 with 720 horsepower, a 270 horsepower upgrade over his old Raptor. In the process, he got to take a behind-the-scenes tour of the Dearborn plant to meet Bill Ford, Ford CEO Jim Farley, and the scores of Blue Oval employees. The Virginia resident will take delivery at a local dealership after it rolls off the line sometime soon, and he says he is beyond grateful. This truly left me speechless, Andrews told the Detroit Free Press. It's a small thing to them, but to me it's everything. I've got buddies that died within arm's reach of me. I'm missing a plethora of my organs, and I don't take any day for granted. You get knocked down, but it's how you choose to pick yourself up. I think... I mean, a little part of me would be grateful to the Murano driver because I'm sure the insurance just paid off the old Red Raptor. Probably had gap insurance. Now he's even. I mean, with the Raptors, you know what I'm saying? Like blessing in disguise, other than the whiplash.
Yeah, one thing I didn't catch until just now. Coy, this might strike a chord with you too. These two pictures of him at the Ford plant. Notice. Who's wearing the high vis? Like, not the people in charge.
No,
but all the lowly people have to wear the high vis.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All the white hard hats have to wear high vis.
Yes.
All the funny colored hard hats, they do what they want. Yeah,
they do what they want. Yeah, exactly.
Guarantee you, they're not wearing steel toe either. So.
Not with those shoes, they're not. Yeah. Anyways, well, I didn't mean to muck that up too much about the high vis. I think it's really cool that Ford stepped up and did that. I would love. I mean, actually, you kind of mentioned that, and now that I'm thinking about it, we mentioned that in a podcast not too long ago, where that guy had bought that Raptor Bronco, and it turned out to be stolen, and he had to give it back to Ford, and he was out all that money. So.
I mean, that poor guy could use maybe he doesn't need to be flown out to Dearborn, and maybe he doesn't need a Raptor R, but they could be like, look, here's a Bronco, bro. I know you just lost $75,000. You're harder.
He was trying to sell it anyways, so it kind of comes back on him anyways. That's what he gets for trying.
Well, he was trying to trade it in for a Raptor, I think, is what he was doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or I think he was trading in for an F-150. So
yeah.
Well, at least Ford stepped up on something.
Yeah, I saw a news video story of this story, and they showed like the Ford Murano. That thing was absolutely
Nissan Murano.
Nissan, yes, sorry. It was all tore up.
Yeah.
And then originally Ford like lent him a Raptor R for a week, and then once they'd gotten to the upper Ford guy is when they came and brought him in to get that Raptor R built, which was pretty cool. So it was kind of like a cascading of awesomes coming back from Ford. It's like, hey, we know you just lost your truck. Here, we're going to loan you this awesome one for a week.
Here's what I'm curious about. Now, this guy's an ex-Marine. I don't know if maybe you're not an ex-Marine. He's a retired Marine. I think that's the proper way to say it. And I know how me as just a regular guy would be with a loaner Raptor R. Like, you can't loan someone a Raptor R. Like, a rental Raptor R. Are you serious? And now this guy's a Marine. Like, that thing got more airtime than the skateboard the X Games in that last week that he had that rental. It was probably awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, our next news story also comes from The Drive, and it is the Forsberg Edition Nissan Frontier.
They should give that
I got-
Murano driver one of these.
so they can go out and total even bigger rigs.
Yeah, that way he holds his own against the Raptor.
Yeah. Yeah, so we don't have there's not a lot of good news to pick from this week. So yeah, we had to slump all the way down to the Nissan stuff. So this limited edition off-road package is based on the one trialed by the Formula D champion Chris Forsberg, and it's the Nissan race truck in the recent Nora 500, which we talked about. And actually, Ben and I saw that truck when we were at Moab. I don't know why we don't have it. I don't know why the article doesn't have a picture of it. Fosberg won the stock production class with a Frontier. The results haven't been published, so we can't tell how competitive the class was. But the parts list makes clear that this is more capable than a traditional Frontier Pro 4X, if not as hardcore as a Chevy Silverado ZR2. So that hurts a little bit, that they had to say that the Pro 4X isn't as good as the ZR2, but we all know it isn't. So it starts with a Nismo lift kit, which includes forged upper control arms, performance shocks, and 17-inch Axis beadlock wheels. They have 31.6-inch Yokohama Geolanders XAT tires, which are the same size as the Pro 4X.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
If not as hardcore as the Colorado ZR2, and it's on 31s.
Yeah, that's a little disappointing. I'm not sure why it doesn't have bigger tires. It should be on 33s minimum. It should be on 33s.
Maybe it's a fitment issue with the fender wells.
That's more. That makes it even more disappointing.
There you go. So with that lift kit and the factory tire size, you probably don't have more than the Pro 4X's 9.5 inches of ground clearance. You get rock sliders, a roof rack with LED lights, and a Nismo catback exhaust. And they also throw in Fosberg Racing decals and a badge on the inside to denote your truck's exclusivity. So
when they say this is like a limited edition off-road package, so far we know that includes a Nismo lift kit, which I'm assuming is just a lift level kit, and
yes,
let's see, everything else is just trim, right?
The beadlock wheels are kind of a nice little upgrade there.
Yeah, beadlock wheels, tires, upper control arms, shocks, catback exhaust, roof rack, rock sliders, stickers, and a badge.
Well, Aaron, I know you've been rolling around the idea of getting something new. Maybe this
it wouldn't be this.
Wouldn't be this. You're not going to stick with Nissan now?
I mean, well, if Nissan made something that was actually competitive with the ZR2, then I would consider it.
Ouch.
Yeah. So the Fosberg edition is going to be a dealer installed accessory package for both new and pre-existing 2022 onward Frontier. So if you've bought a Frontier in the past couple of years, you could bring it to a dealer and have this package installed.
You can add the package in retrospect.
Uh-huh.
That's how we know it's like no, it's nothing. You can't go back and be like, hey, I need you to ZR2 this Colorado for me after I've like that's not how it works. Like it is either one or it's not.
Well, this part's gonna hurt even more, Coy. It's $9,999.
That's a lot for stickers and a spacer lift. Give you that much.
Yeah.
I like what Montana Dirt Roads says here. If you need beadlocks for 31s, you need to find a new role model. That's for real.
I know it's said beadlocks. Do we really think it's beadlocks, or are they,
that is a good point. Are they actually really beadlocks, or are they
do some Googling? Axis beadlock wheels. I mean, they look like beadlocks. I don't know. Yeah, so $10,000 for this upgrade. So $10,000 gets you rock sliders, tires and wheels, upper control arm, shocks,
roof rack with LED lights
roof-
and a Nismo
Yep, a
exhaust.
catback exhaust, and you're paying for somebody to install all that as well.
Well, that's only if you're getting it retrospect. If you buy a brand new one that way, I assume it comes from the factory, right?
I suppose you're right. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a lot of money.
Well, Nissan disappointed us in not one but two articles tonight.
All right, let's jump into the main topic. Let's try to run away from that Nissan news as quickly as we can. So, we got Dave Dempsey here. Dave is a New Jersey resident, like we mentioned earlier. He's been off-roading for quite a while. You reached out to us. You guys have got some trouble in paradise over there, but before we talk about that, we want to hear the Fast 5 facts. So, are you into new or old vehicles?
Old.
Do you like summer or winter camping?
Summer.
Rock, sand, snow, or mud?
Rocks and mud.
Favorite vehicle brand?
International.
Let's get back to that in a second. Favorite tire?
Boggers.
That, I got to say, I think Boggers is a first. I don't know if we've had Boggers.
No, we had it once before. We had it with Virgil Osborne.
Virgil said Boggers?
I'm
Okay.
almost positive. Yeah.
I can believe that.
Groundhogs. I could have said groundhogs.
Well, I have no idea what a groundhog is because I'm not that old.
They stopped making them about what? I think it's only been like 10 or 12 years ago now. It might have been more, but
yeah, have sitting right next to your buckshot mutters, some original
Yes.
claws. Yeah.
Yep.
And then any recommendation for someone who's new to off-roading?
My biggest thing is respect the land, respect the roads, respect the trails. You know, it's respect goes a long way. If not, you start to lose them. That's one of the things I've seen over the past 4 decades. Is a lot of places disappear. Some of that being from development, but some of it being from disrespecting the land, trash, unnecessary throttle, we'll say, and also just going off and plowing your own road, plowing your own trails. It's respect the signs, respect the people, respect the land.
All right, I got to ask real quick about International. When you say your favorite vehicle brand is International, what are you referring to specifically? Like the old Scouts?
I had a 72 3/4 ton 4-wheel drive pickup, and
Okay.
out of the 114 vehicles I've owned since I was 16, that's probably my favorite.
That's a confirmed 114. It's like that's your number.
Yep.
Whoa.
I'm not saying you have a problem. Okay.
Vehicles are my life, man. Vehicles are my life.
But I mean, I know guys. I know guys with vehicles in their life, and they had the same car they had with their. You know, you could do this with like 3 cars as well. So I'm just gonna throw that out there.
When I was
I
younger,
don't know.
When I was
I don't know if
younger,
I've ever even been in 114 vehicles inside of 114 different vehicles.
I think you and a certain West Virginia state senator could have a great count off to see who's had more.
Wait a second, though, guys. This might be an East Coast thing because you only get like when you buy an old wheeler, it's so rusted out. You get like 3
That's
years
true.
out of it. Then you got to move on.
that is true. You guys have solid vehicles up
So
there.
that means you know, if you get 3 years per vehicle, you know, you're actually almost 500 years old by my math.
Yeah, we get about 5. We get about 5 years out of a vehicle, and once your heels start going through the floor, it's time to move on.
Once you start Flintstoning it, yeah.
Yep.
That's funny.
But nah, that old the 72 3/4 ton, that was it was just a cool old truck. You didn't see them around anywhere. They weren't weren't real popular, and then over here most of them rusted away. Like you don't ever see a Scout around here or 4-wheel drive international pickup anymore at all. They all rotted away.
Oh, they're sitting
Just
in
like-
fields all over out here.
Oh man, they're everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good looking truck.
It's the same with the first gen Toyotas. I mean, that's another big favorite of mine was the first gen Toyotas.
By
And,
far one of my most favorite. And we still have a ton here, but they've all been either beat to death or they're truggied out now. There's all nothing that's like normal.
Yeah.
For years there, I was considering getting one shipped from out west over to here because it would be worth so much more over here than it is out there because they're just not around.
Yeah.
The salt we have on the roads around here just kills it.
You know, it'd be interesting to find one that was somewhat stock around here. You can still find them, and then just drive it out east as like your road trip, and then get out east and sell it, and just make
Pay for your trip.
pay for your fuel and your flight back home.
I have a buddy and he keeps saying he's going to get a trailer, come over here and just buy like square body doors and beds and just heap it full and then drive it east. Says he could sell like unrusted square body Chevy doors for crazy money over there. And just
I noticed it just this past August. I was out in Las Vegas, and just the amount of vehicles driving around out there that you don't see over here anymore, like Nissan hard bodies. Like you see a Nissan hard body going down the road here. It's like, whoa, check that out. Out there, I've seen like a bunch of them.
Well, if you saw it in Las Vegas, it was probably heading towards the Mexican border. To be honest with you, they buy all those mini trucks up and they drive them all the way down to Mexico and they resell them down there.
Yep.
yeah, in tow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Toyotas too.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about you a little bit more, Dave. How did you get started in off-roading?
Well, my dad started taking me back into the woods behind our house when I was in a car seat still before I can remember. And it was one of the things I always looked forward to was hopping in. He had a Cherokee through the majority of my childhood, and hop in that and just go for woods rides and go explore where'd this road go, where'd that road go. And it as years went on, I mean, it was even into our bicycles. We'd be riding our bicycles into mud holes and stuff, just doing whatever we could to be out there in the woods. Time went on a little bit more, and me and him got a old air-cooled Volkswagen dune buggy, and had a couple of them over the years. And when I was 16 and got my permit, first vehicle I got was an 85 Dodge Ram Charger, 1 tons, 38s, 456s, Detroit's front and back.
Goodness.
Yeah. And that was my first vehicle. That's why I was driving back and forth to last year in high school. And then the second one was a 79 Bronco on 44s, 460 swapped. I was driving that back and forth to school. Like it's always, and here I am 42 years old and still it's my life. I've lost relationships over it, houses, you name it. I mean, it's literally my world. It's my life. But yeah, it's pretty much got started.
That's awesome. Just those two, I should say those 3 rigs that you mentioned, the International, the Ram Charger, and the 79 Bronco. Those are all icons. Those are great rigs.
Yeah, I had so many. I've had a bunch of I had a 79 F250 Super Cab. That was another 460 swap truck. So many of them. And back then they were sort of cheap. You could pick up a 79 F250 back then for less than $1,000, and they would run. You know, cut the fenders, shove some tires under, and off you go.
Yeah, not anymore.
As a kid, now it's all big money stuff, and even the Samurais. I had over 10 Samurais, and
Oh, so you're the one destroying all the samurais?
back,
That's you?
back when you could get samurais for $500, me and my buddy would
Oh
just
my
buy 'em up.
goodness.
If they had a little bit of rust on them, we'd cut them up and we'd keep all the parts on pallets. So that way, I mean, we blew a motor Friday night, Saturday morning, we'd be back up and going again.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Out of all those, I think Ram Chargers are worth the least. I see like pretty nice Ram Chargers for like $6,000 over here. I keep looking at them.
Really?
Yeah, Ram Chargers are not. They haven't hit a big upturn like the Broncos.
I think the only thing worse was the same thing. Pretty much was the Plymouth Trail Duster.
Trail Duster. Yeah.
Plymouth just wasn't supposed to be a truck, I don't think. But
I like that they were they made a Duster, which was a fast car, and then they're like, can't think of a new name. It'll be the Trail Duster. Like,
yeah,
real good.
No.
What was your most embarrassing moment on the trail? If you can just pick one.
Me and my ex-girlfriend at the time, we were driving. It was on a guy we knew used to have 900 acres not too far from us. And there was an area off the side of the road that had some hill climbs on it. And there's this one in particular that I really wanted to get. And in order to get up it, you sort of had to pop the front end up. It was a small Cherokee on 31s, nothing crazy. You sort of had to pop the front end up. And I went to go pop the front end up, and it was tight up against a tree. And the passenger side tire caught that tree, sent me into a corkscrew, and we ended up landing on the roof. But, that was probably one of the worst ones I've had. That, and also forgetting to tighten my lug nuts up the one time, and my wheel went past me going down the dirt road. But, yeah, between them two.
I can't think of any.
Oh, that's funny. What was the rig that you corkscrewed in?
It was a Cherokee. It was a 97 two-door to be exact. Well,
Gotcha.
You weren't the first or the last person to corkscrew a Cherokee. That's what they're made to do.
Yeah, it was. The worst one was a 79 F250. Actually, the 79 F250 around here, you'll see the rust up around the roof line. They'll rust out around the roof line, and we were driving. We were actually leaving the woods at the time. It was me and this girl that I just met, and we're getting onto the highway. Well, 50-mile-an-hour road, if you want to call it a highway. And we get cruising. By the time I get it into fourth gear, that the roof ended up peeling back like a tuna can, and
just from the air,
from the rust, and then from having it from going cruising the trail, stressing it and everything. I guess it ended up starting to tear, and that wind got underneath of it and folded it back.
That's amazing.
Did it remind you of taking the top off your Ram Charger?
Well, the Ram Charger unfortunately didn't have a removable top. They stopped that I think in 79 or 80.
All those Ram Chargers, the top came over the drivers. The removable top ones came off too. It was always
that was the earlier ones. Yep. Yeah. There's been a few, but yep.
So we've embarrassed ourselves on the trails. What about some wins on the trails? Any big wins on the trails?
Big wins. It's hard to say, man. I'm not a real competitive person, when it comes to the woods and whatnot. I just like being out there, and I'm pretty leisurely. I mean, there's been some hill climbs, obviously, that you come across, and you're like, "There's no way I'm getting up that," and you end up getting up there. Couple of the red trails out in Rouse Creek, Shoot the Moon, and what's the other one over there? I forget the other one that we ended up doing, but they're just ones where you get up to them, you look at them, and you're like, "There's no way," and you come out that other side. It's pretty rewarding. I guess you'd call that a win, but for the most part, I'm just pretty much a leisurely cruiser.
Do you have any places that you'd want to wheel at that you've never been to yet?
Yeah, two of them, Moab and the Rubicon. They're just two huge, iconic places in the 4-wheel drive world, and it's just one of these days I'll get out there, get something out there. It's tough. I mean, you really got to plan pretty much a month of being out in order to really enjoy yourself going from coast to coast. So
Yeah.
I mean, for you, it's like you got to plan both trips, both those places, and hit them in the same trip. Really? I mean,
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
already-
Yeah.
Yeah, to you guys, to anybody out there, they're not right around the corner from one another. But if you're from here, you're driving out there for 3 days out there, you're gonna hit both of them.
Yeah.
At least I would.
I haven't done Rubicon because I'm a wuss, but it's like 12 hours from where I'm sitting, right? Like it's not that far, maybe 13. I'm alongside,
Okay.
But
Yeah. Like I said,
Moab is awesome. It'll break your brain.
yeah, every video I've seen and picture I've seen out there, it's just it's a whole other world than what we have here.
Yeah.
It sounds like you need to go to some like full size event that they have out there. They put on some full size
Invasion in Sand Hollow.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything I got now is small. Well, not small, but not full size anymore.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I
you
mean,
mentioned being on
Had the
44s and stuff.
yeah, they're still
Big tires, just not full size.
neither of them vehicles would ever get in off camber stuff. You got South Jersey is a very flat area. I mean, you get something that's 200 feet above sea level, they actually call it a mountain here. And, yeah.
I'm on a really big mountain. I think I'm at like 700 feet.
Yeah, it's like 3 times the size of anything we got here.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's literally crazy to me.
So yeah, them the big Jeeps, they get trailered out to private property, and they're just mud vehicles, and that's it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Mud bugging.
Yeah, I had a XJ 1 tons fully caged and
Yeah, his video froze. I'm sure he'll be back in a second. Maybe his cat stepped on the computer.
Battery went dead.
there we are.
Oh, you're
Okay.
back.
Yeah. Closest rocks to me are about 100 miles away. So it was one day I'll put something together for him again.
All right.
Well, let's get ready to talk about the trail issues there in New Jersey. But before that, you sent us a video. So I'm going to play that. And just a warning, if you are listening to this, it's a little loud. So you may want to turn down your audio.
All right. So that was just audio and video. Sorry to the people who are just listening to this podcast as a podcast down the road. So basically, that video was talking about how the government was trying to close some trails in the past, and you guys were successful in thwarting them off, but now they're trying to do it again. Can you give us a little history about that in the past, where they tried and were unsuccessful?
Yeah, we bunch of us local around here, we were while out cruising the roads and whatnot, we started noticing these brown plastic whips getting put into the entrances of different roads, dirt roads, and they had no motor vehicles on them and whatnot. And we started communicating through social media. More people started seeing these brown whips being posted, and they we ended up having a meeting, and during that meeting, we got talking about it, and come to find out that was part of the motorized access plan they had, the quote unquote the MAP. And at that time, it closed pretty much like 50% of the dirt roads within this one forest down. There's like 500 miles of dirt roads out there, and they're taking it down around 250 that would be open. And we started spreading the word out, and different people from all different user groups, hunters, canoers, kayakers, everybody was starting to see that this was going to affect them as well. And
Did they look like this right here? Like the
they
survey?
did look, yeah, they did look similar to them. Yep. Yes, they did. And you still see them out there, and they're starting to become more of them yet again. But we got a bunch of user groups together, and me and a couple other people formed a nonprofit organization, Open Trails New Jersey, which you'll hear me mention numerous times. Got the shirt on and whatnot. And we started having people sign petitions and reach out to their local legislative offices, and it really started to gain traction. And we went to pretty much this forest that I'm talking about, Warden State Forest, falls within, I think it's like 6 or 7 different townships. It's pretty big. I mean, it's like 120,000 acres. And we went to all the different township meetings, and mayors were starting to sign resolutions against the road closures, knowing that their residents were against it. And it got to the point where eventually the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection rented out a local high school auditorium to do a public apology in front of the press for overstepping their boundaries.
Wow.
And that was our first success. And years went by, things got quiet again. We helped on a couple volunteer projects that we were able to help with and whatnot, on restoration of certain areas and whatnot that were off of the roads. And then fast forward to 2024, now you got all new DEP personnel, and the couple of the, how to put this, environmental nonprofits started pushing them to do this MAP plan again. It's just under a different name now. It's the Warden State Forest Visitor Map or something of that nature. And just on January 24th, they had an open house at one of the historic villages around here for the public to view what would be the new map. And the first thing you notice is that there's only 190 miles on that map compared to 500, which is a massive closure. And here we are again, rounding up the hunters, rounding up. I even had an older lady come up to me while we were at that open house. She heard me talking about 2015. And she asked me, she's like, "Do you think you'd be able to help me in my club?" And I'm like, "Sure. What do you guys do?" And they were the West Jersey Astronomer Club. And their whole thing, with us being a stone's throw away from Philadelphia, Atlantic City, New York City, and Baltimore, light pollution's obviously an issue around here. And getting to some of the places within the interior of the forest with the least amount of light pollution, she wasn't going to be able to travel to them because the roads would have been closed going to them. And so even it's literally every user group that it affects, and that's the way that we've had to push for it, is it does affect you, and you do got to speak. And it's we got a just 2 weeks ago, we launched a new petition for this year, and it's already up to 4,600 signatures, I believe. So it's definitely getting out there.
It mentioned in that video something about a meeting on January 24th, which is come and gone already.
Yep.
What became of that meeting?
That's the meeting where the DEP presented the new map that they have in store for us, which is, that's the one where they cut off like 310 miles worth of this one here. I mean, you look, there's a lot more orange than there is blue. Blue being 189 miles worth of roads that will be open, and orange is 278 miles worth of roads that will be closed on the new map if it goes through. One of the things different that they did this time than last time is last time they didn't have no stakeholder input, no public input. It was just, they were just trying to implement it. This one, they learned from last time that they had to get user input. But they got user input from an online survey, which I think it was only like 1,500 people participated in the user survey out of 800,000 people that visit the forest a year from their numbers. And on that survey, there's like 4 different options. You had, I think I sent you guys the picture actually on the results of that survey. It's that one right there. Originally, they were trying to put in a permit system as well, which has since been put off to the side. You see 392 people wanted access restricted. And then 54 people for a permit system, which is something that we were against as well. But you look at all the other ones, that is more than the 392 when you add them together. And the first thing they did was throw the public input away and go for restricted access. So it's one of the things they like to sell it by is no matter what, you're within 1 mile from a road. And you may be 1 mile from a road, but if you're a hunter, let's say, when I say road, I mean dirt road. You got to keep this in mind. I'm saying, yeah. I use the word road instead of trail because technically they are public roads out there. Out of state, there's just power in numbers. I don't care which state you're from. It's definitely useful. But the restricted access. I'm looking at that one. There's a comment that came up that said it's actually incorrect results. They showed during the survey meeting, the amended version had restricted access as only 132 and more enforcement is 392. That very well may be, that may be off. I'd have to look at the pictures that I actually took of the, this is the one that I found on the internet.
Well, more enforcement, I'm assuming, is leave as is, basically, but run some more
enforce things. Yeah, like you have those two flip-flopped.
We have state park police that patrol the dirt road, that patrol the forests out here, and they are understaffed. So that's where the more enforcement comes from. Basically, enforce the rules that we already have. Don't make more rules. Don't turn law-abiding citizens into criminals by doing this.
As we like to say on this show, closure is not management.
Correct. That's 100% correct. Closure is more towards the preservation, where this land's always supposed to be in conservation. For instance, like this road, there's a, for those listening to the podcast and not viewing the video, there's a picture up on the screen right now of a dirt road that's covered in pine needles, relatively narrow, but not going into wetlands or anything like that. These are the majority of the road, the majority of the kind of roads that they're trying to close down. Basically, if it's not accessible by a Prius, they're saying it needs to be closed. And
Yeah, that's so ridiculous.
basically, you got to have the roads in unnatural condition in order for it to be accessible by a front wheel drive car. But yeah, and that's but going back to what I was saying, they were saying that you're only a mile away from a dirt road no matter where you're at. And what they don't get with that is there's people their families have been hunting back there going back into like the 1800s, and getting back to some of these spots are old wagon trails and whatnot from before cars. And you really expect an 84-year-old guy to be dragging a 150-pound deer through sticker bushes and through a creek in the middle of the woods when he could have just took it to the road that's right there? So it affects everybody. I mean, the four-wheel drive enthusiast, I mean, everybody's going to be funneled to this small amount of roads that are out there now.
That way you said that you're always within a mile of the road. That grinds on me so hard, because I'm like, that's neither here nor there. I want to drive on the roads that are there. I don't care if there's a road 18 feet off that road. I want all the roads. Like
I think a lot of this is I mean, you get some of the DEP officials that will get like a tour through the forest from the staff of the forest. And these people are from North Jersey, from the cities, and they go down a dirt road and they hit a couple potholes that have water in them. They're like, "Oh my God, I can't get my car down here. These roads are in horrible condition." And then this one, oh, you're going to scratch the hell out of your vehicle if you go down there. But that's what they find to be safety issues and destruction issues and whatnot. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's definitely areas out there where people have ventured off the roads over the years and have created mud holes and swamps that should have never been there. But since 2015 woke a lot of people up. And you go to a lot of these places where people have ventured off the roads, and you were to do before and after pictures, you wouldn't even be able to know now going out there that there's people in them. So, and just then we agreed on the education and signage. They've put more signs through the woods, like at the entrances of the woods, letting people know that there is laws for back here. Your vehicle's got to be street legal to be back here. And then Tread Lightly has given us a bunch of info or a bunch of literature that we've handed out. Open Trails New Jersey. It's really made a lot of difference out there on how it is. I mean, and people, the anti-access crew, they're using pictures from back like 2010 and also from areas that aren't even within the state forest to justify why they support this. But luckily we got a pretty big political background now. Like we got some pretty heavy hitters, congressmen supporting us, senators, mayors. We got a lot of backing on this. So
that's good. That's really the only way you can fight this stuff, honestly. It's sad that like you're just into off-roading and kind of drive around the woods and you have to get all political to protect your, like, that's usually the opposite of what you're into if you're into getting out in the woods. But to keep that, you have to like build this whole other skill set of being political.
Yep.
You'd mentioned earlier about how a bunch of different people have banded together and teamed up who aren't necessarily the same groups. What all kind of groups are fighting against this besides the four-wheel drive community?
You got the four-wheel drive community, you got the The Hunters are a big one. The Dual Sport Enduro motorcycle guys, they're a big group that's fighting against it. It's gotten to the point now where canoers and kayakers, they're helping us now, because a lot of dirt roads that would take them back to where they do drop offs and pickups, they would them roads would be closed. They'd be forced to use an outfitter at that point. I mentioned earlier the stargazers, they can't get back to where the least amount of light pollution is, so they've joined with us. Yeah, as Steve said, the equestrian, yeah, the horses. If you end up needing a vet back there, your horse gets injured or whatnot, and next thing you know, they can't get down the roads if they got any barriers up or them whips or whatnot. It's really, even it's crazy to say, but even yeah, we've got mountain bikers, and even in a flat state, we still got them. Some of them have been helping with us.
I much prefer to ride my bikes on flat ground myself. I live in the mountains. I look for flat spots.
Yep.
And
I've got
Jersey.
I've got a little.
Yeah, some of them too.
I've got a little history with New Jersey that our listeners might not know about. I mentioned it to Dave before the show, but I actually lived right down the road from the Pine Barrens that they're talking about. So most of you know I live on the West Coast, but for 1 month while I was 16 years old, I lived in the New Jersey Pine Barren area. I lived in West Creek at a campground called Baker's Acres. And part of the requirement before I left was to put 1,000 miles on the Ford Bronco to break the engine in. And part of that driving took place in the Pine Barrens. And we even went up to the top of the world, and then there's a sand pit out there and some other stuff. So I've got some experience in this area, and it's beautiful. It's something I'd never seen before in my life, and I've never seen anything like it since. There's nothing in the Pacific Northwest like the Pine Barrens. It's just a really neat area.
Little history on the Pine Barrens too. At one point, you could pretty much stand anywhere in the Pine Barrens, and as far as you could see, there was no trees. The trees were used as fuel for the furnaces and iron making back in the 1700s and into the 1800s. And this went all the way into the early to mid 1900s. All the growth out there is relatively new. The forest rebound from that. So to have exactly this picture pops up yet again, you can see all the pine trees and everything. At one point, that was barren. That was cleared out. There was no forest left for a while, and it was able to rebound. It's a very robust area. There's forest fires. You're talking.
So this forest got completely erased and then put back, and now we're worried about the roads.
Yes.
That's a good
point. The roads equal out to, I remember somebody doing the calculation where the roads end up turning out to be less than 1% of the forest itself. And that's the worry.
What so besides signing this petition, what are some other things people can do right now to help out with this?
Our website, opentrailsnewjersey.org, I believe it is .org. Opentrailsnj.org. You go on there, and there is numerous ways to contact local legislators and whatnot on a national level. The best bet, if somebody's listening, reach out to me on social media or Open Trails New Jersey on social media. Reach out and get to us. I mean, we could use the support. You hear a lot of stuff out west with like Blue Ribbon Coalition and a bunch of different organizations that are a lot better, I guess, a lot more formed than we are right now. We're still relatively new. Any help we could get is highly appreciated on the national level. But you got the petition, and locally, if you live in New Jersey, getting a hold of your local legislator, getting a hold of your local mayor to pass a resolution against this. Tell them that tell them what the dirt roads mean to you.
Yeah.
If you've ever thought of considering of traveling to New Jersey, or now after hearing about it, and you're like, oh, I actually want to go check that out, and you live in another state, it's worth reaching out to that state representative and being like, if you close off those trails, it's making me consider not going to visit your state to spend my money in your state. Representatives and all that will listen to that.
That's a good viewpoint. I never thought about that, actually. That's a very good point.
I won't travel to Moab to spend my tax dollars that I've earned in my state, in your state, to bring revenue to your state, because you've closed down trails. I won't go to New Jersey. I won't go to California and go on the Rubicon.
No, you can just
listen to
that first part. Just
I know,
California.
But it's speaking with your dollar. It really does, and it's really cool to see that as a grassroots thing. You guys have been able. You fought it once, and I feel you guys will get it the second time, especially.
Yeah, I'm definitely more optimistic. When I walked out of that room on January 24th, after looking at that map, I thought we were pretty doomed at that point. And with the amount of backing that we're getting now, I'm definitely feeling more optimistic about this. And the more people that contact, the better. There's a lot of people, I think, that sort of feel that this may not pertain to them. Because they might not use Warden State Forest. They might live in a different part of New Jersey where they go into one of the different forests. And they being the New Jersey DEP specifically said, once we get this through in Warden State Forest, we are going to continue to do this into each forest. So it'd pretty much be a statewide thing.
And even if you have a different forest, hey, it doesn't affect me. Guess what? You just increase the amount of people coming to your quiet forest that you like so much by umpteen% because you just closed 90% of someone else, or you let someone else's forest get closed down, And
that is true. And the other thing, out of state, if lawmakers from your state see the lawmakers from our state become successful with this, it could very easily end up in your state as well. States do like to copy off of one another, especially when it comes to the environmental things, it seems. Somebody asked about the media, if I've reached out to the media about this. 2015 and this time we have had media coverage. Unfortunately, a lot of the media does like to lean towards the environmental side, it seems. As it gains political traction, I'm hoping from both Republican and Democratic leaders, I'm hoping that maybe we'll see that change and the media will start covering our side of the story as well. So,
have you, have you taken the video from 2015 where they made the public apology and like cropped that and sent it to some of these people and be like, hey, this is what happened last time. I know maybe you didn't work here then, but I just want to be clear. The last people said sorry for this exact thing.
That video does have to get dug up again. I know it's somewhere on YouTube. That video does have to get dug up again, especially the last few minutes where they sum up the apology.
That would, I mean, that might be something worse. Like, hey, this is what happened last time. You guys came and said sorry. Yeah. So maybe let's back off a little bit.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, the majority. I mean, there's another nonprofit, one of the big environmental nonprofits, put their petition up in support of this about 3 or 4 days before we put ours up, it got like 600 signatures compared to our 4,600 signatures. I really like to think with what I'm seeing numbers wise that we are speaking for the majority. So, and somebody brought up in the comments, Pinelands Adventure. Pinelands Adventure is a company that was formed by that same nonprofit that I was just talking about. The nonprofit's Pinelands Preservation Alliance. They formed Pinelands Adventure. They're an outfitter company, so they get profit from it.
Oh, from like they sell hiking gear and stuff like that.
No, they do canoe and kayak drop offs and hiking tours and stuff like that. So the more the woods that are closed off, the more business they're going to get off as well. And so, of course, they're going to be in support for the closures. They're it's a whole follow the money trail type thing there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yep. The other interesting thing, are you guys familiar with RTP funding, Recreational Trails Program, federal grant money? It's basically, it comes from gasoline tax. Whatever thousandths of a cent goes into this from every gallon that's pumped, and different states have the ability to apply for the grant money. And 60% has to be for motorized trails, 30% has to be for non-motorized trails, and 10% can be for either or. That's the only way you can get the grant money. You have to have a plan in place that you have to submit to get the grant. New Jersey has received this grant money before, and we don't even have any quote unquote motorized trails. All we have is motorized roads. And this money was used on these dirt roads out there, which are now they're trying to close down as well, which right there, that's being looked into for misappropriation of funding as well. So yeah, there's
Interesting.
Yep. Yeah, it's a mess.
Montana Dirt Roads mentions getting on some other podcasts. You were on another podcast. I can't remember. It was a Jeep one.
Life. Yeah, I was on
Jeep Life podcast. Yeah,
which is based out of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And,
he mentions the Jeep Talk Show. We know those guys over there, and they do have a pretty big following also. So maybe we can pass you on to some more people when we're done, and just keep spreading the word.
Yeah, I'll do these. I mean, I'll do these every night. I got one coming up this Wednesday, which is X Rock. It's a rock crawling competition thing on the East Coast, X Rock. And they're doing one with me as well. So the more the merrier, the more the word gets out.
Blue Ribbon Coalition has their own podcast now too, which is like would be super directed for what you're talking about. And kind of a target audience. You might talk to them as well.
Yeah, I'll have to reach out to them. You said, let me write this down. You said, what was the other Jeep podcast?
It's called the Jeep Talk Show.
Jeep Talk Show. All right. Yeah, if you guys could pass me down or I can reach out to them, that'd be great. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's another interesting one. The grant application. Grant application for the RTP funding that I was just saying in 2014, the DEP claims that there's 600 miles of roads out there in Warden State Forest. That's more than what we came up with.
That's interesting.
Which is that's them trying to get the grant money. Now all of a sudden we're down to 190. But
well, is there anything else to cover in this? Anything else people need to know before we close down?
Not really. I mean, just visit opentrailsnj.org, learn a little bit more, sign what they have, and and become a member if you want to. I mean, that always helps as well. Otherwise, I thank you guys for having me on, and I thank everybody for listening.
So we're all, you said opennjtrails.org?
OpenTrailsNJ.org.
Open Trails NJ.
Yep.
Okay. Open Trails NJ. Any other Facebook groups or anything like that that people on the East Coast might want to join or visit?
And we have Open Trails has their Facebook. I mean, by all means, I'm David Dempsey on Facebook. If you want to follow me or whatever, reach out to me, message me. I'll talk about this stuff for hours. So,
all right.
But yeah, once again, thank everybody for listening to what I had to say about it and any support. And I thank you guys for the support.
Yeah, we're glad that we could have you on to talk about this.
And if you want to check in with me a few months down the line, want me back on with what ends up becoming of this, just reach out.
Okay.
So,
all right, guys. Next week we have Oregon Adventure Trucks coming on, so be sure to tune in for that.
And we want to thank everybody who listens weekly, and especially those who are watching us live, like we got watching right now on YouTube and all of our other channels. We really appreciate you guys. I'm glad you guys tuned in. A lot of great comments. A lot of new names in the comments. I'm assuming a lot of you guys are people that were directed here by Dave as he was reaching out to try to get some more people checking this out. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. Try to share us with your friends and your family and helping us grow. And God bless America.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren Colby Valve and 4 Patriots to see all of their great products. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our Linktree account or by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, and be safe and courteous. Thanks for listening.